Hey guys, Ultraman52 here. Well, I just got back from seeing Godzilla, King of the Monsters. And oh my god, was it good. Alright, so where do I begin with this movie? I'll have the poster right here, by the way. First, I want to say right now, I will be talking about spoilers, so hence in the video title here as well, I do mention I will put spoilers in here. I will say a warning when I start saying spoilers, so don't worry. Now, another thing I'd say is that critics have been just tearing this apart, saying that there's too much focus on the monsters and not enough focus on the humans, when I find that really funny because in the last movie, the first 2014 Godzilla, they were saying that there's not enough focus on the monsters, but there's too much human drama going on. So I find it kind of ironic that they're complaining about the thing that they wanted out of the first movie. So, I don't know. But anyway, this is the third film in the MonsterVerse. The first was, of course, 2014's Godzilla. Then there was Kong Skull Island. Now there's this. And, God, I don't want to talk about spoilers right now, but I gotta wait. Okay, so, first thing is the story. I don't want to go too much into it without going into spoilers. I'll cover enough. I'll cover about, like, where it gets to the point in the trailer, and then I'll kind of talk about the cast and also the, the score as well. So first of our story-wise, essentially what it is, it's about this family that's kind of torn apart. It first begins with during the events of the last bit of the first Godzilla film, where Godzilla is fighting the female Muto, and from what it's implied, the family, who it's a mother, a father, and a daughter, they actually end up losing their son during all of the chaos. So the family kind of gets broken up. The daughter and the mother live together while the husband does his own thing. And the mother and the daughter are actually located are living in a monarch base that's in China, where Mothra's egg is. So you see Mothra hatch into her larva form, and these eco-terrorists kind of break in and kill everybody except the mother and daughter, because the mother created a device called the Orca, which enables... how do I explain it? It enables, I guess, to kind of communicate with the monsters, to kind of, make them come to a certain, point, or, basically it makes them, it's kind of a way for them to communicate with the monsters a little bit. And what they do with the Orca is that they use it to awaken all the other Titans, which apparently they said there's 17 Titans and counting that are known. So they use the Orca to start to slowly revive all the other monsters. So they go to Antarctica, where the Titan Monster Zero is, aka King Ghidorah. So they awaken King Ghidorah, obviously, and of course Godzilla comes and they have a brief fight, which that first fight scene is so damn good. You do actually hear the original 1954 Godzilla roar, very audibly actually, in one scene. You only hear it once, but it's very audible, which is pretty damn cool to hear that roar. Even Mothra's roar is, her original roar is there, but you really only hear it like twice, and it's slightly modified for just those two times. Other than that, it's just her new kind of generic kind of screech, really. King Ghidorah, from what I've heard from his whole entire roaring from the entire movie, he doesn't really sound like his old school King Ghidorah self from, the Showa era, or rather than the Heisei era, where he had a modified Rodan roar. And speaking of Rodan, I think he might have had a modified roar of his original, but then again, it really didn't sound it, I guess, if that makes sense. But of course, once King Ghidorah wakes up, Godzilla and King Ghidorah, they have a brief fight, which the whole standoff shot looks is one of my favorite scenes in the whole entire film. By the way, there's a very high chance I'm gonna go see this film a second time because it was so damn good. But just from that half, you're already about maybe like an hour in, really, maybe like almost an hour in, really, and you're just right now so on edge and really wanting more monster action, and it does actually happen. Then they go to Mexico, where they awaken Rodan, and Rodan and King Ghidorah have a brief confrontation, and that's actually the second time, I think, that Rodan has actually fought King Ghidorah. The first time being in Ghidorah, the three-headed monster, in 1965, I think it was. Yeah, 1965, and okay. Also, I like to mention that while watching this film, I kept getting flashbacks from when I was a little kid, watching Godzilla films on the Sci-Fi Channel late at night. Which, speaking of those films, late at night tonight, actually, of the recording of this video, I'm going to be watching Ghidorah the three-headed monster on the Independent Film Channel. So that's awesome right there. Which is also one of my favorite Godzilla films. And also I forgot to mention that obviously in the trailer, Mothra and Rodan, they do fight as well. They fight actually near the end of the movie, which is pretty cool. Again, I will get into spoilers, so again, just be forewarned. If you have not seen the film yet, I will say when spoilers start. You can click off the video, go watch the film, then come back and have me talk about it. So yeah, okay. So I think that's enough I want to give out for just the plot right there. Obviously some other stuff happens too. Not really a spoiler because it's very, very obvious. Is that the characters, they find out that King Ghidorah is actually not from Earth. Which, if you're a hardcore, long-time Godzilla fan like I am, you know that King Ghidorah is not from Earth. He is a space monster. He is an alien from outer space. No one knows his exact origin. We just know that he's a three-headed golden dragon from space. And they go over that. In fact, they actually show several cave paintings saying that, you know, Godzilla and King Ghidorah's rivalry has gone on for centuries, but he's a monster not from this world. So it's that confirms in that film that, well, in that film's universe, that he is not from Earth. He's a space monster, obviously. So, and now I can talk about the cast. The cast probably was. It was interesting in the sense that, like, you didn't care, if that makes sense. You didn't care about the human cast because really you're not there for the humans. You're there for the monsters. Like the mother, daughter, and father characters, I didn't really care what happened to them. To be honest, really, all the human cast really just seemed like you were there to kind of hate them. I was watching the whole entire film and, like, I don't like any of these humans. Like, they genuinely just are kind of, like, the only character I actually liked was Serizawa, played by Ken Watanabe, which oh man, okay, spoiler. Okay, this is not a spoiler, but there is some sad shit that happens in the movie where I actually got teary-eyed, like very teary-eyed, like very close to crying. This is now the second Godzilla film that has actually made me get really teary-eyed. Destroyer had me full-blown crying, but this film made me very teary-eyed during one particular part that I will go over. And the mother character, I forget her name, I don't know why, but she basically is the flat-out villain of this movie. You kind of see it in the trailers, but once you actually see her full, like, reasoning for awakening all of the Titans, you really see that she's just flat out a piece of shit person, and you kind of want to see her die. I won't spoil until, you know, I get to the spoiler section, but yeah. And of course, the daughter character, she's kind of torn, really. There's a part where she is about to go with her father that she kind of backs away from him, but just before King Ghidorah gets released. And it's like, you know, what the hell was the point of, like, not going with your father? Like, I'm guessing it's because that, like, the whole, you know, what happened in the past, really. But at the same time, if you look at the circumstances that are happening, I would rather go with my father, who's on the good side, rather than be with my mom, who's aligned with eco-terrorists. So, like, her character to me made no sense, really. Even when her character came full circle at the end, it still didn't make any sense personally, but that's just me. Now, for the score-wise, the score was so damn good. I forget the guy who composed the film. I'll put his name right here. But he did a phenomenal job. He recreated the original Godzilla theme from Akira Ifukube did, and he also did, he completely redid Mothra's song. In fact, that theme plays twice, actually, during the film. Once during when Mothra turns into her adult form, which is not a spoiler, it fucking happens in the goddamn trailer, and once at the end credits. And the Godzilla March, like, once you hear the Godzilla March or the Godzilla theme, you just get so pumped up to hear it. Like, like it plays a little bit in the beginning of the film, and of course near the end of the movie, and of course during the credits. But oh man, just like, and one really cool thing is that a lot of you may or may not know, but they did a cover of Blue Oyster Cult's Godzilla. But for the film, it plays during the end credits too. Sorry, only during the end credits. That it's a cover of Blue Oyster Cult's Godzilla, but sung by the lead singer of System of a Down. One of my favorite bands of all time, probably in my top 5, singing Blue Oyster Cult's Godzilla. It was so freaking cool. Like, I love that song now. In fact, I actually want to go listen to it right now. In fact, I would love to play it right now for you guys, but it's probably copyrighted, and I don't want to get taken down. So fuck that. So yeah. So overall, I think as a whole, this film is so damn good. Also, I would like to mention that at the very beginning of the film, when the movie is starting to show all the company logos, you hear Godzilla's footsteps during it all. And I was watching it in a RPX show, which is RPX is bigger screen, surround sound, and better sound. And his footsteps were so friggin' loud and heavy, they were shaking the whole room. I could feel it in my seat, how powerful his footsteps were. And it kind of showed the scale and the scope of how, you know, big and imposing he was. I would love to see this in IMAX, although I probably would have had a fucking panic attack if I seen this in IMAX, to be honest. But again, that's just me. I would like to see an IMAX, but I don't think I have any theater near me that has IMAX, so yeah. But as a whole, like I said, this film is, like I said, a love song to kaiju fans. The critics, they don't know shit. Rotten Tomatoes itself is a joke of a damn site anyways. The audience score is what matters the most. I don't give a shit about the tomato meter. I don't really. The fact that people even use Rotten Tomatoes as a basis for getting into films or seeing if a film is good is an utter joke, really. Rotten Tomatoes itself as a whole is a joke of a site, really. But again, that's just me personally. So I think rating-wise, because the fact I just did not care about the humans at all, I found them to be extremely boring, and just you don't care about them to the point where you just want to see the monsters, and that's really what the film's about. The film is about the monsters, not the humans. I don't give a shit about the the family drama between them all. I don't care. Like, the only good character was Serizawa, and he does something in the film, which I'm gonna get into spoilers soon, so be forewarned, that really is the big tearjerker right here. So I think for a rating wise, if I was gonna give from like a 1 out of 10 rating, I would definitely say a solid 9 out of 10. The 9 because the human characters, like, even though Ken Watanabe does such a fantastic job as Serizawa, he still cannot save the film's like human cast. Like, yeah, just like a 9 out of 10 I think is a nice fair, is a really high rating for a kaiju film of like this. I would have given it a 10 out of 10, but I really have to look at this as a film as a whole, and honestly, it deserves a 9 out of 10. It's not perfect, but then again, no kaiju film was perfect unless it's the original Gojira. Also, one thing I think is really hilarious, during the end credits, when showing all the cast, Mothra, Godzilla, Rodan, and King Ghidorah, when it says under the cast, it says Mothra is played by herself, Godzilla is played by himself, Rodan and King Ghidorah are all played by themselves. Like, there was no actor for them. So I thought that was really cool and a very nice touch. And one thing I thought was pretty cool, it's not a spoiler, but at the very end of the credits, it shows "in loving memory of Haru Nakajima," with a picture of him in the Godzilla suit. I thought that was so heartwarming, that also was kind of a tearjerker too. It was very sweet, it was very kind, and Legendary did not have to do that, but they did, and I'm very happy that they paid homage to Haru Nakajima, and I think that right there, that itself was one of the best moments of the entire film, was just them paying homage to him. So there you go, a 9 out of 10 for Godzilla King of the Monsters. Please, please, please check it out. It's so good. So now, guys, warning, right here, big bold, right here. We're now getting into the spoiler room. Yeah. Okay, so spoilers. One thing is that in the that when the part where King Ghidorah and Rodan fight, Godzilla appears again and tackles King Ghidorah into the water, and he rips off one of his heads, and Godzilla seemingly almost dies because the military launches the oxygen destroyer into the water while Godzilla and King Ghidorah are both fighting. It explodes. King Ghidorah somehow survives, and Godzilla is slowly dying, and you think that he's dead now. But so what happens then is that King Ghidorah, he goes on top of the volcano where Rodan was unleashed from, and King Ghidorah is instantly able to regrow his head that was ripped off by Godzilla. We don't know how, because again, King Ghidorah is a space monster. We don't really know his abilities to the fullest. In fact, out of all the films, King Ghidorah has never been able to regenerate a head, let alone an instantaneous regeneration. And seemingly you think that Godzilla's dead, but they go into a cavern that shows that has ancient ruins that you kind of think might be actually Atlantis, but they ended up worshiping Godzilla down there, and they come with the idea to launch a nuclear warhead at Godzilla to revive him because he's so badly, drained of energy. He's essentially just there in that ruined city to regenerate and regain power, regain his radiation. But they end up, but the sub that they're in, the human characters, their sub is damaged and they can't launch the nuclear torpedo. So Serizawa comes up with the idea that because there's like a air pocket that where Godzilla is, where you can actually just go up to the surface and walk up to him really. But it has so much heat and radiation that you would be killed, you know, within minutes. So Serizawa says I'll go, and he takes the warhead up to Godzilla, detonates it for a minute, goes up to Godzilla, puts his hand on it and says, "Goodbye, old friend." The nuke goes off, kills Serizawa, which is the thing that got me really, like, it got me teary-eyed, like legit really teary-eyed, because it was an homage to Serizawa in the original Gojira. So Godzilla gets revived with newfound energy, and Mothra actually, and now also I forgot to mention that since now that King Ghidorah was at that point the new king of the monsters, because he thought that Godzilla was dead, all the other titans were starting to actually become active. There's a giant mammoth titan, there's a giant spider titan, which I think was flat out a reference to Kumonga. In fact, you see them in great detail. There also was another Muto that somehow survived, which is weird, but there is that. So once Godzilla gets revived, him and King Ghidorah, they brawl in Boston, and Mothra also joins the fight too, along with Rodan. So Rodan and Mothra have at it, and near the end of the film, Mothra gets the shit beaten out of her by Rodan, and you think that Rodan is gonna kill her, but Mothra stabs Rodan, I guess, in the shoulder. Like it looked like it was in the heart, but it's really kind of through the shoulder, really, with a stinger she had, which she's a moth. I don't know if moths have stingers, but okay. And you think that Rodan seemingly dies, but he technically at that point gets paralyzed, I guess, because then Godzilla, since he absorbs so much radiation through the nuclear bomb, the nuclear warhead really from the torpedo, that when King Ghidorah had his back turned, he seemingly got newfound power and started to glow bright orange and red, turning himself into, of course, burning Godzilla from Godzilla vs. Destroyer. And he ends up killing King Ghidorah with a nuclear pulse, which Godzilla has only been able to do that in Destroyer, and I think also he's done it a few times in the Heisei series, but and the nuclear pulse is just straight heat, so he ends up burning King Ghidorah's wings. King Ghidorah fires his gravity bolts at Godzilla. They don't work at all when he's in his burning form, and he unleashes another nuclear pulse, and he just completely eradicates King Ghidorah off the face of the earth. And when the smoke clears, it looks like King Ghidorah survived, because you can still see like one of his heads moving, but it's actually Godzilla holding one of his heads, and he shoots his atomic breath through the King Ghidorah head, and it just explodes. So, and at the end of the film, the last shot, which is a fantastic fucking shot, all the monsters all the titans that were awakened, minus Kong, because Kong does actually make a few cameos through screens, through screenshots and smaller videos. All the monsters, like the giant mammoth and the giant spider and all of them, and even Rodan somehow survived. Like I said, he probably was just paralyzed by Mothra. They all gather around Godzilla, and they're all bowing to him, since signifying that he is now that he has reclaimed his throne of King of the Monsters. And the last shot is Godzilla just roaring and being proud with all the monsters around him, and the film cuts just the title Godzilla King of the Monsters, and then of course plays the cover of Blue Oyster Cult's Godzilla, which that's such a perfect way to end the movie. Oh my god, so good. Oh man. That's pretty much all the major spoilers I've talked about right there. Now, there is a little bit of post-credit stuff, so we'll talk about it. So, during the song of Godzilla, plays like little clips from the first movie, and it keeps cutting to newspaper articles saying there's now more watch over Skull Island. What is a god compared to a king? And it shows a cave painting before the song ends. It shows a cave painting of a giant gorilla fighting Godzilla, signifying that it's setting up events for Godzilla vs. Kong next year in 2020. Now the post-credit scene, though, there is a post-credit scene. Now, it shows the eco-terrorist guys kind of like walking through, I guess, like this bunker or whatever, or warehouse or whatever, and they open up a door, and inside is the severed head of King Ghidorah, the one that Godzilla bit off when they were fighting in the ocean. That's the same head. So somehow they were able to acquire the head of King Ghidorah, and in the building it's just rotting. So, which means that a few things, well, this is just my predictions of it, is that King Ghidorah is going to appear in Godzilla vs. Kong, either as a fully regenerated Ghidorah or possibly Mecha King Ghidorah. Possibly. Now, what does that mean for Godzilla vs. Kong? Which, by the way, the tagline for Godzilla vs. Kong has already been revealed. The tagline is, "One will fall." So, what I think is going to happen is that it's kind of going to be like a Batman v Superman, except played out much better. Godzilla and Kong are going to fight for a majority of the movie. We're probably not going to see the trailer for that film until maybe like this year's Comic-Con. Again, who knows? Comic-Con is a few months away, actually, which is good. Now, I think that Godzilla and Kong are going to fight for a majority of the movie and then team up to fight King Ghidorah. And that's where I think, because the director has said that one of the two will die. Someone is going to die. One of those two kaijus will die, and it will be very sad. So what I think is that, considering Kong is the last of his kind, because they said that in Kong Skull Island, I think that King Kong is going to die by King Ghidorah. Maybe, who knows? I don't know really, and that's kind of my one thing I don't like about the post-credit scenes, that it essentially is shoehorning in King Ghidorah, and that's probably one thing I don't like about that, because, like, we want to see Godzilla fight Kong himself. We don't want to have the two monsters team up and fight Ghidorah. Like, that's something I'm not very much so into. I'm still really excited for it, I am, but it's just kind of like one little downer thing. But again, that's just me. Again, who knows? In fact, a lot of people are calling it right now that Godzilla and Kong are gonna fight Ghidorah or Mecha King Ghidorah in the film somehow. So now, I did say that the mother/wife character, you kind of hope she does die, but unfortunately she doesn't, which sucks, because she essentially says that, like, she's trying to rebuild, she's trying to reestablish the dominant species, which at that time were the Titans. She wants to make the Titans the dominant species again, and she's doing that by unleashing all the Titans and having us kind of coexist and worship the Titans. And of course, that's, it's a completely wrong thing to do. In fact, it's a horrendous thing to do, really. So the daughter kind of figures out that, yeah, my mom is fucking horrible. My mom is a monster. She's fucking crazy. And the mother figures out quickly that, oh shit, I fucked up badly. So, and you kind of want to see her die. Unfortunately, she doesn't die, which really friggin' sucks, because she's probably the human character I hate the absolute fucking most because of her fucking batshit crazy emotions. Sorry, batshit crazy, what's the word? Motives, yeah, motives. But, yeah, that's pretty much it for all the major spoilers. Like I said, King Ghidorah being a space monster really isn't that much of a spoiler, because everyone knows he is a space monster. We don't really know how Rodan got there. It does actually explain it in, of course, the Monarch files on the Tumblrs and like websites dedicated for the movie. But yeah, again, let me know what you guys thought of the film down in the comment section below. Give this video a like if you enjoyed it. And please, again, if you stayed until the spoiler shit, please, please, please go see this movie. It is so effing good. It'll leave you on the edge of your seat wanting more and more and more. So again, guys, I hope you all enjoyed this review of Godzilla King of the Monsters with spoilers. So yeah, if you stayed all the way till the end, I pretty much gave away a shit ton of spoilers. I also should mention, I forgot of how Godzilla gets his newfound power, not only by the nuclear warhead, but also because Mothra actually sacrifices herself. She actually lets herself get blown up by King Ghidorah and gives the last bit of her energy to Godzilla for him to become Burning Godzilla. Which is kind of akin to, all the other films where Godzilla kind of inherits powers from other monsters to get a much more powerful burst of energy. So, again, hope you guys all enjoyed. And again, please see this movie. It is so damn good. Action-packed, monster mayhem at its finest. So again, hope you all enjoyed. And sayonara.